Welcome to another episode of the Water Wine Kenya podcast. I am not Kyle, so Kyle is jet setting on the high seas, but I am founder and CEO Chris Rhodes. So I'm filling in for Kyle for the opening. So Kyle, you can hurry up and get back here because I don't like doing the opening. So
Gotta fix that cow energy.
I know
Yes,
I'm mad at you.
exactly, Mr. CEO. You gotta channel it, and then bring it out.
Channel my inner Kyle,
That's
right?
all. We all got a little bit in there.
So we got a great round of panelists on today. So we're gonna go right down the line. So first off, we have Relly Rel.
Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to be back. I feel like I haven't been with my family in some time, but I'm really excited to be here. I'm finally excited to be here with you. Yes, I'm going to pass it off.
Okay, I'm Shelby. Glad to be back.
You are a returning champion.
I
Yes.
am. I'm so excited.
At least
one.
Three-time champion.
Yes,
Three-time.
I'm like I haven't met the champ yet. I need to come on back.
At this point, it's at least once a quarter.
Yes.
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 And then for me, Shani, hey y'all, as always, super excited to be here, getting back into our rhythm with everything here in the States. Y'all know we just got back from Kenya not too long ago. So yeah, like Rose said, it's been a while. We were together like 2 weeks ago, but it still felt like forever because we weren't here in the States. We was taking care of a lot of business in Nairobi, got a lot of things situated, had a great time with the team out there. Y'all check out that last episode because you get more detail about what we did and everything else. But in the meantime, I'm gonna pass it back off to the CEO.
All right. So we got the Guess the Wine challenge. All right. So that's what we have in the clear
Challenge I
bottle.
fail every time, you guys, but it's all right.
Yeah.
We're gonna try
And we got our sweet strawberry. So I think everybody on the panel is sweet, right? So y'all sweet ladies, right? Right.
Yes.
So
Love a good sweet.
yeah, look, fellas, be nice to them. They sweet now. They sweet. So we got some sweet wine for everybody on the panel tonight. So I'm gonna let y'all go ahead and let's open up the mystery wine first.
Start with the mystery.
Because I think everybody's had the strawberry at one time.
Yeah,
right?
Yes.
This is the mystery.
It's the mystery.
Yeah.
I know everybody loved the strawberry. Make sure y'all check out
Love
the
the
Instagram
strawberry.
page.
Yes, the
Seen-
strawberry.
That's the best.
Y'all would have seen that we did an event at the time that featured the strawberry, so a lot of reactions there.
Oh, was that for
here.
Valentine's
Mhm.
Day?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Strawberry was one of the flavors, and they loved that
Nice.
too.
And there's a whole song about sweet strawberry wine.
Oh, there is.
It's like that country song.
Really?
Maybe we should put that as a little background song.
Oh, I think that's Sweet Caroline.
Sweet.
No, it's a song where he sings about street. You're sweeter than whiskey. You're sweeter than.
Oh,
Strawberry
yeah.
wine.
Yeah, I'm not going to sing that. I'm going to mess it up. But yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's a nice song. Thank you.
Now, this one is strong, ladies.
Well, this
So-
is for the whole
Oh.
time.
The whole time?
Then, or should we put
Sip,
some
sip.
back?
So I'm going to give
I
y'all.
know I want the sweet strawberry, so I'm gonna do guess the flavor though.
Yeah, so I'm going to give y'all a hint. This is not, I repeat, not
Mm.
a fruit.
Oh, just wanna.
Okay.
So if you know our lineup and you know our menu,
Mhm.
it narrows it down to two.
Yes, it's
Corn or potato?
Yep, I mean that's
Corn
that's
or
the
I'm
name.
not saying anything. So what do you smell? So before you tell me what it tastes, what do y'all smell?
That's a good question.
Yeah, like it's familiar, but I can't say.
Is
what
it like a
smells
vanilla
like.
something?
No, it's not a
No.
vanilla in there.
A vegetable?
It is a vegetable.
Sweet potatoes?
That's sweet potato.
That's a good guess.
So knowing the lineup, it's not a fruit, it's a vegetable. Sweet potatoes,
We ain't got the two.
collard greens, like
Bring it up.
the other option would have to be you called it out a corn.
Yeah, it's corn.
It's corn wine.
It's corn wine.
Okay.
Okay.
Look how clear it is.
So that's our
Very
family
clear,
legacy.
like,
So
you can see right through there.
yeah. So I think I said this on another recording, but that's my family's legacy. So that's where it all began. So we started making corn wine.
This is good. This is the one that got me last time.
I think
need to
this
sip
one is the
slow.
dry version, though. This is dry, right?
No, that's sweet.
Oh, it's sweet? Okay.
I was going to say it is a little bit dry for me, but it you can taste the sweetness because corn is naturally sweet.
Yeah.
So it's not, I can't drink this dry. You know how some wines, if you get it, like, get there dry, you can't even, like, it's actually
hard to go
dry
down.
when you're
It's
trying
a
to drink it.
smooth-
It's not smooth. Yeah, this is very smooth. Even though it's dry, it's very smooth with that sweet undertone, which
Yes.
allows me to drink it, you guys. Because, yes, this is a sweet strawberry group here. But it's okay. It's good. I like it. And if it's really strong, I'll take my time because
Yes.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, what would I give the corn wine?
I'll give it a 7.
You give it a 7? Okay.
I would give it a 7.
Shelby,
I give it an 8.
you give it an 8?
If it was for me, if it was a tad bit colder,
Okay.
You think that's what it
Ooh.
is? Maybe if it was a
Yes.
little bit cooler.
Yeah, so
tad bit
Mm.
colder.
Yeah, so
it would
temperature
just-
Thinking
affects-
about that now,
yeah,
yeah, the
temperature
makes it
affects
taste
what the wine
different.
tastes like.
Yes.
Yeah, if this was really cold, and it would be even sweeter. I feel like
Yeah.
you would really, really be able to.
And it's going to
taste
change
the corn.
so
Yeah.
and it's going to change
lot more.
the way the texture of the wine, right? So if it's cold, it's going to be a little bit more thicker, right? So it's going to have a lot more of a velvety type feel.
Because what was that one flavor that I tried it warm? I was like, I don't like this.
Woo.
And then I had it cold.
And
And then, no, I was like, oh, I like this.
That's a flavor that we were experimenting on. So that was dates.
Oh, okay.
Dates.
Oh.
Okay.
Was it dark? Was it a dark?
It was
one?
dark.
Oh, that's exciting.
Nice.
Yeah, it was dark. It was dark.
You had it.
Well, what?
You had it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, it's time
That was a
to-
long time when you had
Okay, you
dates.
see me? It's like, well, it's time to, run that back and re-up again. You know.
So as you ladies are starting to drink, so I kind of want to jump into tonight's topic. So
Yes.
we got Shelby here. So she is our resident therapist.
Mm-hmm.
So
Come sit on his couch.
yeah, come sit
Yes.
on the couch.
Listen,
Yeah,
I'm here.
come sit
Every
on the
single
couch.
time, it's time to come sit on the couch
Y'all
and
know.
talk and lay it out.
Make sure y'all grab
I'm
y'all
not here.
tissues.
Uh-oh.
Go pre-order y'all wine so that way next time you
Yes.
can join us with this exact wine. But in
Yes.
the meantime,
Yes.
have a drink.
Yep, you can
Yes.
pre-order on our website. So just go to waterwinekenya.com. And as soon as you go on the website, we're the very first thing that you see as soon as you click the link or click the URL. So,
Get them orders in.
yeah,
Yes.
get the orders in.
Tell
Because
me.
I'm
they are
ordering by
going
the case.
fast.
And
They are.
so for those who have pre-ordered, so y'all can thank Trump on this. So some of our bottles are stuck both
Yes.
by boat and
Yeah.
by air. So we tried to get around we tried to get around both ways of the Iran war. So we tried boat and we tried air shipping. Both are delayed. So for those who have pre-ordered, that's the reason why you haven't got your orders yet, because you can thank good old Trump. But I'm being told that the bottles should be arriving before the 20th of this month, so April 20th should be arriving before then. So
Nice.
we're keeping our fingers crossed. But like I said, definitely not our fault. We got the wine at the winery. But like I said, you can blame our president on why you haven't got your wine
And other things.
yet. So you need help with that one?
Please do.
Okay. See, that was easy.
You make everything look easy. Thank you.
So like I said, we got our resident therapist on the couch. So we're probably going to meander a little bit like we typically do. But one of the things I do want to talk about is toxic love languages. So I was watching a show, I think it was called 90 Day Fiance. And it was an older episode. And on that show, one of the women kind of like hit the guy on the back of the head or whatnot. And he had a very interesting reaction. And the reaction was, keep your hands to yourself. And even though it was kind of sort of in a playing manner, which that's kind of debatable. I wanted to get your thoughts around how can hitting, to me, I think that's toxic love language, right? Because I see that can easily escalate. So it starts off as harmless, and then as the relationship matures, then that hitting becomes a little bit more aggressive, and so on and so forth. So I know there's a lot of different toxic love languages out there, but I noticed that one, right? So I wanted to get your opinion on what do you think about that? Am I barking up the right tree, or am I off base here?
No, absolutely. Definitely barking up the right tree, because to me that's a boundary violation. But every person gets to determine what their boundaries are. So with this guy, it sounds like she violated one of his boundaries and he let her know in a nice and very mature and respectful way. But it could be another guy that she could potentially do that to, that either has no boundaries or he's not emotionally mature, or maybe he responds in an aggressive manner. You know, so it's
Well, she did it
crossed the
again.
line.
So she was making a point. She's like, so in my culture, like I said, with 9-day fiance,
I
so
forgot
guy,
where she was coming from, Trinidad.
Trinidad,
Right.
Trinidad and Tobago.
She said they kind
Okay.
of like touch each other. They'll go like this, and she said that's part of their
That's
culture.
how they communicate.
And he 100% was like, no, not over here. You will catch an Uber to the house from here. Like he pulled over his car and was just like,
Yeah, he pulled the car over.
I will send you an Uber. You will get out.
It's a hard boundary.
Yeah.
That's a
And
very
she
hard
was kind of
boundary.
like, oh snaps, like, you know, you wouldn't act like this when he was over there or whatever the case may be. But it was a hard boundary, and it was a little. She hit him on the back of the head, and then he said something to her, and she still tried to like grab his face and do other things while he was driving.
While he was driving as well. Okay, that adds a little bit more context.
It does. It
Just
does.
because just listening, and again, I understand she said a culture thing. I'm not. A lot of Black Americans, we like to play too, especially with our spouse. However, again, I agree with you. If he already asserted that boundary, like this is a hard no. It wasn't like a soft, babe, stop it right now. I'm driving. We can play later. It was a hard no. And then the fact that she kind of, just kind of
Continued
overlooked
it.
that, continued it, and then tried to justify what she's doing, saying, "Hey, well, this is what we do," as if hey, if you want to be with me, you just have to deal with it. After I said, this is a hard no for me. You can get out of my car.
Justifying her behavior, which is not appropriate
At all.
And I think one of the things too that shape people like love languages, is the environment that they brought up into. Like sometimes it's kind of just like the way that love was expressed to them, maybe growing up, right? And then that ended up being a toxic love language. But the key to that is also breaking that, right? Like you may not have been exposed to the best love language. Your parents didn't tell you I love you, or wasn't too affectionate, and the words and stuff wasn't there. So then you learn to develop a love language where it can be pretty toxic. But do you recognize that your love language is toxic?
I hope in that scenario she will, but it sounds like she didn't. Like you said, like she's justifying her behavior. He put that hard boundary in place, and I mean, even as a woman, I have to respect that in him, because if the shoe were on the other foot,
Oh man. Oh.
She can have a case immediately if she wanted to. And I hate to say that there's more,
he would have been blasted.
Yes, really taking advantage of the fact that it's easy for him to get blasted now compared to how it used to be. Cancel culture.
Exactly.
It's really a thing in 2026. It is.
So let me ask you this though, Shelby. So, Shani kind of brought up a good point in terms of like our past experiences, kind of shape how we are to the one ain't no kind of it is, right? So, in your professional opinion, or what you have seen, I have a feeling that that's a true statement, right? Why is it? And I won't even necessarily say in the Black culture. I'll just say in general, because I've experienced this myself, right? So where they say tough love, right? And parents may not necessarily give their sons or daughters their flowers, but they'll brag on their sons and daughters behind their back, right? And then I kind of look at that. That's another toxic love language,
Right.
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
And you're conditioned very early on, to start putting up those boundaries, right? So
Or not.
or not.
Right.
Hmm.
Or not, absolutely.
I'm a person that actually grew up with no boundaries. I didn't really think of boundaries or learn about boundaries until I went to school to be a therapist.
So how do you establish boundaries, right? So you were saying that you had no boundaries and you went to school and you learned about boundaries. So had you not went to school, do you think that you never would have had boundaries and you would have just been boundarily, well, what's the word I'm looking for? Without no boundaries.
Is that what it is? In a sense, yes. I know that sounds very far-fetched, right? That in this day and age with social media and everything else, I would like to hope and believe that I would have figured that out eventually. But it's one of those things where you don't believe that you have the right to set that boundary.
How so? What do you mean by that?
So, for example, if I don't want to have phone calls after a certain time, let's say 11, for example, and someone needs to really get a hold of me and contact me after 11, if I have no boundaries, I'm going to people please and still take that phone call, even though that doesn't align with my values or my beliefs.
Okay.
Or what I want. So when that happens and there's no boundaries, you are left feeling, for lack of a better word, some type of way. I could either be upset or hurt or disappointed, but more so at myself because she used the perfect word. I wasn't assertive enough to put that boundary in place and say, hey, I don't take phone calls after 11. If it's an emergency, that's something different. But just because you need to get a hold of me doesn't mean I have to take that phone call.
Yeah, but a lot of people would try to flip and say it's an emergency and it's their emergency and not necessarily.
And that's where the boundary comes in that. Sorry, I didn't even mean
No,
to
you are
cut
absolutely
you
right.
off. But
Absolutely.
no, and it's just, listening because honestly, the former people pleaser, just one of those things. I guess my question is, what do you think, what makes us do that? For me, I think I really, really value relationships. So things like that, having a boundary saying, you guys, I need to go to bed, but you needed me, I would say, hey, I might lose this person though, so let me just deal. And, I don't think it's malicious. We love each other. I don't think they're just doing it on purpose. But still, at the end of the day, we can love each other, but deep down, I'm resentful. Might be a teeny tiny little bit of resentment right now. But as it keeps going,
Which it can
going
build.
and going.
It can build.
The first thing was putting that phone on Do Not Disturb.
She knows me.
That phone was ring. I'm like,
But
So
they know
to
if they
say
call 3 times, the call's
still
gonna
ain't
come
getting
through.
through.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is a
Guys,
boundary.
yes.
Jokes on you, phone on
Shani,
vibrate.
so she
Right.
told me, she said, Sherelle, you're pleasing too much. Turn your phone off and go to
Yes.
bed. I did, you guys. I listened.
Very real.
I have
when
my
you hear my
bedtime
phone ring.
boundary. Do not call
No.
me after 10.
But that's the thing, people will
Anyway.
because that's something they need. So you have to be the one. And when you're being assertive, it's considering both parties, right? It's not aggressive where it's F you, it's all about me, or passive where it's not about me at all and it's all about you. It's assertive, it's about us both. Please respect my boundary. I will call you tomorrow. Leave a voicemail or a text message. I'll call you tomorrow. And there's nothing arbitrary about that.
So,
one of the things that I like that you called out was, like you said, just emphasizing your boundary and being okay with standing on it and being okay with like however they react. That's completely out of your control. Because for me, like I went to therapy for that as a former people pleaser, where me being like my big empathic self, putting others people's needs and emotions before myself, and then by the time that I'm done, it's kind of like I'm depleted and everything, and I'm still made out to be whatever the image may be in that person's world because I didn't stand on my necessarily boundary.
Right.
So I have worked on that a lot,
Good.
a huge lot, and therapy was very helpful for that, considering the environment that I grew up in. And I feel like generally speaking, right, it depends on who you're talking to. Like as we're growing up too, and I think parenting is changing or whatever you want to call it, because people want to get into that whole gentle parenting and however kids kind of like react. But a big thing for me is making sure that my daughter isn't a people's pleaser.
Amen.
And not
Amen.
holding herself accountable for other people's feelings.
Exactly.
And it's just like you're accountable for your own feelings and how they react to certain things. That's their
problem.
That's their problem. You can't control how people react. And for me growing up, that was a big thing. And I didn't have that safe environment to do that. So I always took on other people's feelings and emotions and put myself on a back burner. And when I started going to therapy years ago, it helped me unlearn that behavior and stand on those boundaries regardless of how people may see me, perceive me, whatever the case may be. Because you damned if you do, damned if you don't. But at the end of the day, you got to make sure that your cup is personally full before you go pouring into others.
The other people, that's right.
And I was pouring from an empty cup at one point.
Yeah, and I think,
feel
the
that.
caveat on that, when you do that, don't feel guilty if once you filled yourself up, you don't have extra for somebody else, because you don't have extra sometimes. Sometimes you have just enough for just yourself, just enough for you, your family, you and your daughter, like you said. Because I know that's something that I struggled with as well. If I did try to assert that boundary, well, maybe I should still just,
exactly.
I'm tired, but I mean,
I'm still do it.
I'm gonna still do it. I said no, and they stopped calling me, but let me just call.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes you're not even giving your full self, right? Like at this point, you probably giving like 20%, and they still
And they
cursing you
still-
out.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, I ain't low key.
Like you said, it's a
I'm already at
lose-lose.
zero. You lose.
Exactly.
Mm.
But I have
boundaries
to
and
be
replenish it.
honest, to piggyback off of that, as an African American woman, when we assert ourselves, they mix it with another A as aggressive. And I think I can speak for myself, I don't necessarily want to come off as I'm being aggressive or difficult or challenging. So sometimes we will forego our own boundaries, which is actually the people pleasing. Forego our own boundaries just so that we can get along, or just so that everything can be harmonious. And I'll be honest, for 4 or 5 decades of my life, I went along with it just so that I wasn't labeled aggressive or I wasn't labeled as difficult. But now, like Shawnee said, unlearning those behaviors and not being accountable for other people's feelings or emotions or thoughts or behaviors, I sit in it and I stand on it. A boundary is a boundary, and I'm not changing it.
But here's the thing, though, and I'm not trying to meander out of this conversation because it's good. But they say that about all black people. Like when we assert our boundaries, we're being aggressive, and I don't like that
I don't either.
because what they've gotten used to is black people becoming submissive. And when we're saying no, absolutely not, that's not right,
It's not.
then we're labeled as aggressive. So I think it's on both sides of the coin of men and women,
You're right.
right?
Just African Americans, just as a whole, I agree. And you're labeled as combative really fast.
Yeah.
Very
And
fast.
today, once, hey, I'm scared because you guys are ready to fight, then it's over for us blacks in America.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So I agree with you with the part of being submissive. We're just, just acting like you're content with everything, saying, you know what, fine, I'll just conform for the sake of.
Yeah, go along to get along,
Yeah.
right? And that's one of the things that's so frustrating, being an African American, right?
Yeah.
Because in corporate America, they'll tell you, oh, we want to hear your comments. We want to get your thoughts. We want to get your feedback.
sentiments.
Yeah, the sentiments. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
sentiments on this topic.
I don't get too loud.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I like where you're going with that too, because when I was thinking about that too, so my comment in regards to the boundaries is more on like the personal side for my inner circle, right? This goes for family, friends, relationship, like that inner circle to me. Now, when you get to corporate America, that's a whole other different version of a boundary, right?
Yes.
When you get to, I'll say people that's associates, because again, my level of boundaries depends on the person.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
For me, my
Categorize.
hard part for me was my inner circle of people that I care about. people I don't know, like, I truly don't care. Like, it is what it is. I'm standing on whatever I
That
said.
part.
Corporate America side is another different beast of itself.
Yes.
When you're black and you're showing up in corporate America, right? And for me, like, I'm like the first person to do a ton of things. So I didn't have like that standard person to go to and talk to these things. So I didn't see women looking like me with locks and everything high up in the corporate America world. Their hair is typically straight because when
That's
our hair,
acceptable.
yeah, that's acceptable, right? I remember when I was working in corporate America, and we're very versatile with our hair. One day I can come in. Right now I'm locked, but I can come down with my braids or something. Then the next minute I'll probably come in with some curls, or it just depends on the day.
Because we can do that.
Exactly.
Yes.
And it was just like someone made this comment. It was like, "Yeah, your hair is really fun." I was like,
What is that supposed to mean?
Exactly.
Define fun.
Like
Define fun.
Yeah. So it's just like learning about those different things. Like when you show up in an interview, like you're supposed to show up a certain way. Like I got to think about how my hair looks. So even when I made that decision to lock my hair, I was a little nervous at first. I was like, I was still in corporate America. I was like, I don't know what they're going to think and all of that, but I'm doing this. I had decided to go against it anyway. So that was me going against like my corporate America boundary, because my corporate America boundary was that my hair had to be straight. This wasn't going to be acceptable. I still climbed the corporate ladder. And my hair like this too, but you generally don't see people looking like that. So it just made me second guess myself before I had decided to do this, and I decided to move forward. So that was me flexing my corporate America boundary, even though.
And your individuality, right? Because they have their individuality. If they want to wear their hair blonde, or they want to still wear the feathered bangs, they can do that, and that's okay. It's acceptable, but they look at us.
And I've always like experienced that. Like I'm talking about like my experience at once I got into like my career, like dealing with finances and money and investments and stuff. And even prior to that, I worked at jobs like I was working at Wendy's, and I was the only black person that worked there. So she said something to me, because I'm always the one that's switching up my hairstyle. I was like, "Oh, you can't have no crazy colors, or you can't do this." And I was just like, "So I'm the only one that got this talk." And she knew that I didn't like her from that moving forward. Like I didn't work any extra shifts or do anything or work with her, but the other managers would say something like, "Oh, can you do something out?" Like, cool, I'll help. But with her, I was just like, no, because I don't like the way that it came off. Right. Just having that conversation. So I've had that in like numerous stages of my life, where it was you got to be mindful of how you show up to yourself, how you show up in corporate. I'm not going to put Wendy's in corporate America, but whatever. If you want to put that in here. But how you show up in America in general when it comes to working, and you're black.
Absolutely.
That's exactly what it is. And I had to experience that on my own, navigating those different things. And of course, the mentors that I had throughout my journey, that I met, and and people were like my sorority and other people, but like amongst my family, I didn't have that person to kind of like go to and have that conversation and confide in them and talk about how to navigate those different barriers.
Do you think if you did have that they would have sided with corporate America or with you?
I think it depends on the perspective, because I don't think that. So for me, at first, I thought that in order to be successful in life, you go to college, you get your degree, you climb to corporate America. For me, I realized like that actually was not the thing. That's not how success
That's how you
works.
get broke.
Exactly.
Right? Student loans.
I actually thought that's what you were supposed to do. So for someone who has that mindset, they're going to side with corporate America, right? They're scared of entrepreneurship. That is a risk, right? You're betting on yourself. You're the CEO. You're doing all of the different things. You can speak to that as well. So if someone that has that corporate mindset that thinks that the only way to be successful and play it safe is a 9 to 5, then they're going to side and say, make sure you hide your tattoos, make sure you do these different things, yada, yada, yada. But someone that is very entrepreneurial mindset, they're going to nourish that, like, no, you go out and do this. You show up as yourself. You do this. You nourish whatever it is that you're passionate about, and go ahead and turn a business model out of it. And this is how you do those things. So I actually believe that you should be able to bet on yourself, and you should be able to show up however you want to show up. I have a great work ethic. Everything speaks for itself when it comes to that. But how I decide to present in a certain image, if it want to be judged upon, then some people.
Well, you kind of hit on a different topic or a different thread. So Shelby, what do you say about this? Will the amount of money that you earn in corporate America, right? Because that's what we're bred to or
Strive.
conditioned, right?
Right.
We're conditioned to get the good job, go into corporate America and make as much money as you can, right? But what I also heard is when you go into corporate America and people are telling you need to act a certain way, you need to dress a certain way, so on and so forth. Here again, strictly your professional opinion. Are we breaking our boundaries when we do that?
Absolutely. And nowadays they call that code switching.
It's called what?
Code
Code
switching.
Code
I've never heard of that.
switching.
Code switching?
Code
Yeah,
switching.
that's a big thing.
It's a thing.
Yeah, if I'm being honest, I'm a huge code switcher.
Me too.
Yeah.
If it's just us, I'm just down to earth. We laugh, we talk, we have our own lingo. But when we get in the corporate America and we're around maybe our more corporate peers or, our lighter skinned peers, so to speak, then we do tend to speak more proper, become more elegant, contradictory, right, to what Shawnee just said. Instead of just allowing our credentials or our work ethic, etc., to speak for us and just be who we are, we code switch.
I like to think of it as adaptability.
I was thinking the same thing.
That's
To me, that seems-
I was just going
That's
to
essentially
say.
what it is, but
you
we
know,
also call it code switching. So some
switching.
people would be like, "Oh, like you're big on code switching."
Yeah,
I mean,
but
That's just being
100%.
adapted
Yeah,
to
it just
your
means you're
environment,
being-
though.
Exactly. That means
Yeah.
you read the room and you adapt. That's all
Sometimes
that
that's what
means.
you have to
That's
do.
what you have
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah.
But that
it's
cuts
just-
across all grains, right? So
Yeah.
it doesn't white or black. It just
It's
cuts
just-
across it because
Exactly. It's
read
just-
read the room.
Yes,
Right.
exactly. It's
Right.
just I think the thing about it with the code switching, why it's so prominent with African Americans again, is because we actually have to. That's why I was going to say I do commend you just kind of locking your hair and just saying, you know what, I'm going to bet on myself because
Absolutely.
yes, there can be your upbringing and things like that just make you more timid, but the fact that you could have grown up, you can have the biggest personality, you can have all those things, but the fact that our resources, the fact that you actually have to worry about, oh my gosh, if I lose this job, like you really had to really sit there and decide, am I going to risk it, knowing I have these responsibilities, knowing I don't have the support, knowing I don't have.
Which shouldn't be an issue.
Exactly.
If she's a hard worker, she shows up, she's dependable, she's loyal, like she said, she volunteered, to do things that weren't even necessarily in her position, but does that go unnoticed in some instances?
I don't think
I guess
like in
that's
that
what my
moment.
question.
In that moment, it wasn't like I would lose my job. It would cap it, meaning that like if I went to interview anywhere else or started doing the other things, because at that point I was at this company for a long time, but it became like for me almost like every year I had a new role, and it was like, oh, like am I not going to make it past the interviews anymore or start getting these things because I decided
Okay,
to.
so it wasn't a situation like, oh, it's going to drastically change things. It just kind of was. I might
drastically
cap you.
change in regards to capping me, yes. And then
Okay.
if I decided to look outside in corporate America, again,
Then
there's a certain persona that you have to,
Yeah, of course.
look like. I'm going to put my hair up. You ain't going to see it down and everything.
Well, I'm older, I know for sure, than pretty much everyone in the room.
You don't
So-
look it.
I am. And I used to work in HR probably almost 30 years ago.
Okay.
And so Shelby, self-disclosure, is not my first name. It's my maiden last name.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And Vashella is my actual name. That's the name. Vashella with a V.
Vashella.
With a V, yeah.
Okay.
And it's VA-SHELLA. So if you look at it, you're like, whoa, right? And so I can remember years ago working in HR, and that's back in the day where your resumes would come via fax. You wouldn't see the person, but you would get the resume via fax. And the head of HR would get these resumes and see ethnic names and toss them.
Yeah.
And that taught me, oh, I got to switch this name up so that I can at least get the interview. I'll show up to the interview and shine, but I at least want to get in the door. And so I had to carry that for like 30 plus years of partially hiding that identity of Vashella, who is the same person, has the same credentials, can do the same work, the same education. However, it's not as acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of that code switching or being adaptable, right? Where some of us, just because of our ethnic names, the last name Johnson, things like that, they would just toss those resumes because they don't want them in the interview.
I've read studies about that, like literally one and the same resumes. They'll put, you know, a more
Ethnic name versus a traditional name,
There you
exact
go.
same
Yeah,
resume.
just so you can
and the
get in
one
the
that will
door.
get the hits is
Yeah.
The one with the more acceptable name, which they
Exactly.
call it
Yeah.
whitewashing.
yeah,
Mhm.
Right.
literally. There's so many like case studies and everything that just proves that.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So, but it's okay. So I'm glad we had the conversation, but let me look at it from a different perspective, right? So, I get code switch and I get adaptability and all that other stuff, right? I understand that. I think what I'm trying to unravel, if you will, okay, the fact, and Rail, you kind of hit on it, the fact that we're so worried about losing our job and whatnot, and all the trauma that comes with, right? And even the trauma, and so you even talked about it before, like this was trauma for you. You've seen that, all the ethnic names got tossed in the bin or in the trash, and they kept all the normal looking names, right? So there in itself is kind of trauma because it forced you to adapt.
Yes.
Right. But I kind of want to come at it from this perspective. So, and China, you kind of hit it on. So all you ladies is hitting on the same.
It's because
thing.
you got water signs here. We understand that. Especially toxic language.
Oh my God.
And that is toxic, right?
Very.
It's very toxic.
We took it to the business side, but
Yeah.
I think from the relationship side of things too.
Absolutely.
We can go to that angle.
Yeah.
So watch where I'm about to go with this. So as you progress and you're becoming more conditioned in corporate America, right, and you're making more money and so on and so forth, does your boundaries change even more, right? So change even more in terms of you accepting more and more disrespect, toxicity, in your work relationship, because there's many different relationships, right? Your work relationship and in your home or your significant other relationship, right? Because the more money that a person makes can sometimes lead to
more money, more problems.
more money, more problems.
Leave it
More
there.
money, more
Or the person
problems.
think that they can just run the relationship since they're the breadwinner.
Right.
And that can
They
be on
don't
a,
need
More
you.
toxic.
that can be on the female side,
Yeah.
where the female
It
is
can
the
be on both
breadwinner, then they
sides.
become toxic, or a male where he's the breadwinner, then he could be toxic.
Yeah, or he could be toxic because he's angry
That she's
She
the
makes-
breadwinner, and that just.
yeah, it can go either way.
And that can affect your boundaries. That can affect everything else that's going, downstream of that, right? So, I think from another perspective too is like here again, your past relationships or your past. Well, I guess I'm kind of looking at it from this perspective. As a child, your parents was, and I'm not trying to say that my parents were toxic parents, right? But I feel like I was raised in a traditional black household. Say what?
Except mine were, I'm just joking.
But traditional black household in terms of, appearance was everything, right? Appearance was everything.
Everything.
Yep.
Yes.
And it conditioned you, which, right, wrong, good, bad, or indifferent, right? It conditioned you in a certain
Body
type of way.
dysmorphia is a thing. 'Cause I've dealt with it.
Yeah, it definitely conditioned you,
It's
right?
like it's a thing.
Absolutely.
So with that being said, and I've kind of seen it in my household, right? To that same point, Johnny, since one person's making more money, then the whole household kind of has to conform to that one person, right? So, seen this as well, especially, well, I won't say African American because I'm starting to get away from stereotyping African Americans because it happens on both sides of the coin, right? So I'm trying to keep it open. But when you find out that this person really wasn't doing as well as they were, especially when they die,
You see their debt.
yeah, you see their debt, you see everything that they have, and you're sitting there like, holy crap, why the hell did I put up with all this stuff? Had I known all this, then I wouldn't have, for lack of better words, let my boundaries down. Right? So, like, how do we, if you don't know, you don't know, right? But how do we begin to, and we're all parents, right? How do we begin to, one, instill into our children, and this is just your own professional opinion, instill in our children.
Do this for a living.
Yep. So that's why we got you on, right?
Yes.
So how do we instill into our child that, don't compromise your standards and your boundaries for a dollar, but yet being flexible and adaptable and mindful enough to where we have to be adaptable when the situation presents itself? Because in my opinion, I feel that we skew one way or the other. There's really no happy medium.
Right.
We skew,
Right.
right? And I think that's what gets us into a lot of trouble.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So, from your professional opinion, how do we navigate that fine line of not skewing so much to where like we're just totally boundaryless or boundary? How do you say
You said a boundaryless.
Yeah, boundaryless. Right.
Thank you. I got some hot stuff in there.
See, I told you nobody wants that hot popcorn.
She's like,
That tastes good though, but it's hot.
See, nobody want that hot shit.
They got a little thick in there. Sorry, y'all. Go ahead. Continue the conversation.
Yeah, so how do we navigate this? So how do we go on from just completely having no boundaries to just putting up just a complete facade of just, yeah. So how have you managed that, or how did you bring your children up in terms of trying to juggle that?
well, to answer that first professionally is one, knowing your values, knowing who you are as a person and what your value system is and what you are willing to forego and not forego. Kind of more on the personal side, because I do kind of take that personally as, a parent of adult children. I always instill in them to be true to themselves. Whether I like it, their dad likes it, somebody else likes it, their relationships, I always tell them, you know how you were raised, you know where you came from, always be true to you. Excuse my French, but F everything else. Be true to you. Because I didn't get necessarily that conversation growing up. But I will have to be honest and say that as a mother of 3 children, there were times that I worked in certain positions where I won't say that I went above and beyond and completely beyond my value system, but there were times that I pushed the envelope, where I took certain positions that I really didn't like, or I had to be more responsible for certain things than somebody else when it was really their responsibility. But because I really need this job,
You took it on anyway.
yeah.
And then you don't want to be looked at as you're not the team player.
Yeah.
Or lazy.
Yeah.
The lazy word.
Or not adaptable.
Or not
Or
adaptable.
not willing, and it's even a situation where I have had conversations with some of my white counterparts where there's certain things they're like, yeah, no, I don't do that. And I'm not going to do that. And they better not ask me to do that. But yet they will ask the African Americans as well as the Latinos. And Black and brown people, again, we don't want to be considered aggressive or, like you said, not a team player. So a lot of times we do go along to get along. It's not just in relationships, but of course,
So hold on.
the
So
work
let me ask
relationship.
you a question. So let me pause. So I know I derailed your train of thought. Do Latinos get the same smoke that we get in terms of being aggressive, from what you've seen?
I wouldn't say necessarily to the degree that we get, but I would say pretty darn close.
Pretty close. Okay.
Pretty close.
Okay.
In my opinion.
And I think also just commenting on the topic, I think it goes back to also being comfortable with having a relationship, a discussion about money, right? So you mentioned that, for example, somebody could have died, and you like, dang, if I would have known this person was living like this, I would have never dealt with
Compromise my standards.
Compromise the standards when it comes to that. But it's being able to have a adult conversation and being comfortable with getting uncomfortable with having a conversation about money, because let's be honest, our culture don't like talking about it. This is financial literacy month. And one of the things that is kind of like, it's frowned upon to have that type of conversation when and I'm talking about romantically, you want to make sure that you and your partner is on the same page. When it comes to your family, y'all want to make sure that things are in place, right?
Yes.
We're getting into estate planning. Like, you should be trying to build generational wealth, and then teaching that next generation how to keep it going. Because what good is building generational wealth if the next generation don't know how to keep it going? I can be building whatever it is that I'm building for my daughter, give it to her, and she'll just let it go, right? Because, but I didn't have that conversation with her. I didn't instill those type of things with her to have that conversation. Same things go from a romance perspective, a work standpoint, but knowing how to stand up for yourself and be able to negotiate when it comes time to salaries and everything else. Being able to have those type of conversations, and if you don't know how to have those conversations, find somebody that is a safe space for you to figure out how to approach that conversation.
Like a therapist.
Like a therapist. You may not have to have it in that exact moment when you are experiencing it, but you have to have that conversation. Absolutely. At some point. You're going to have another conversation with your boss when it comes about a raise, or when it comes to negotiating a salary, when it comes to whatever it is that you bring to work, when it comes to your partner, making sure that y'all are on the same page on whatever your financial goals are and building that wealth together. When it comes to your family, with leaving that estate plan and making sure that if I die today or tomorrow, this is the things that's going to happen, how to keep that going. And so it goes in just so many different ways. I even had a friend that wanted to do like some type of friend pot where it's like, oh, if something happens and we can all tap into, that's a whole nother conversation. But if you got a friend like that too, y'all have a conversation about what those standards look like when all of the friends are putting money in the fund and y'all use it as an emergency fund. So again, it's having a comfortable conversation with money, because not all money is good money, and you don't have to compromise for it, because at the end of the day, I think it goes from having a poverty mindset versus an abundance mindset, right? Like, I naturally attracted things. I may not be like a millionaire right now or whatever it is, but you can get to it. Right. So I think the biggest barrier that people have about, I'm using this example of getting to $1 million, because everybody like to be millionaires and everything. If you come from an environment where everyone isn't millionaires or whatever the case may be, your biggest obstacle is overcoming the mindset itself, believing that you can actually get there, and then creating the steps to get there. I ain't saying it's going to be easy now. I'm not saying that, but we can all achieve whatever it is that we put our mind to. Some people may have a head start over you because of their personal situation, their skin color, whatever it may be, but it's about having that conversation and then initiating it, and then taking action from it too, because we're also in this environment where, you know, we got social media, we got these phones at our fingertips, and it's so much information that's thrown at us, right? Oh, goodness, but the next thing is actually taking actionable steps off of that information that you get, and a safe information too, because some of that stuff is just like, oh, that was strong and wrong, but that's another topic, another day.
Well, if you need help with your finances, you know who to call.
I'll just say
please, in the comments, just say, hey, I need some help.
I mean, it's generic things that I will say, like when you're looking for someone to talk to. And this is just something that I've learned, right? Like, my family is not, I do not come from money. I do not come from a family that talks about money, that talks about things. Like, it is a very, very, and I get it, it's a sensitive topic with people. These are just things that I have learned, and I'm not perfect, like, right? Like, it's just, again, having a conversation. Like, opening your mouth to have a conversation and be receptive of that too, because you can talk to someone about it and it can fall on deaf ears.
Yeah, but you also have the knowledge, right?
I do, so from the experience. That's from that.
Yeah,
that's from going to school, working in my environment and everything, and just soaking it all in. But again, I naturally have a thirst for knowledge, so I'm very inquisitive. I always want to know the why behind something. What, where, like, how did you get here?
Right.
So that's. Yeah. So you gotta be interested. You gotta be open to learning. If you don't know, that's fine. Find that judgment-free, safe space because I know like it isn't a safe space for people, but find your community of people, whoever that person is, and have that conversation and be vulnerable.
And that's a big word, right? The vulnerability. Because I think in every relationship, the lack of knowledge for finances, or the lack of finances, or the lack to even earn your potential, I think leads to vulnerability, and a lot of people are afraid to be that vulnerable around others, which is why we have this, this culture. I can definitely speak for the Houston culture. And I've had some couples in couples therapy when they come in, their primary issue is finances, right? And I ask them different questions. Well, I don't know how much he makes. I don't know how often she gets paid. I didn't know he was in debt. I didn't know she was in debt.
And it's like y'all married, like to get into a unit.
But it's that
y'all
vulnerability,
have that thing,
right?
Yep,
if I show you that weakness, where I don't know how to manage money, or I may have come to the table able to buy you certain things, but somewhere along the line something has changed, right? You get more responsibility or whatever, and now I can't keep up that image. Now I'm ashamed.
Do you still love me? Would you still be with me?
And that's what it goes to.
Or if it's the men, because men are supposed to be the providers, the leaders, right?
If that's what you agree to in your household. And I tell couples that if that's what you agree to in every household doesn't have to be the same. That doesn't have to be the standard. If you agree to something different in your household, that's what you agree to. But kind of back to you mentioned something earlier about the relationships and the finances, where that shame, the degradation of, well, if I can't keep up with the Joneses, or if I don't have enough money, I must be less than, or weaker than, or I lack the ability to earn the potential, or to carry out this generational wealth, or start a business. I joked a couple of weeks ago with my parents when the situation at the airport happened here in Houston, where they said out of all the TSA agents that were laid off, the ones in Houston, both airports, they didn't go to work. And I said, it's because everybody in Houston has a side hustle. Because in order to truly make it in Houston, you have to have a job and a hustle.
Multiple streams of income.
Streams of income, and it's sink or swim. Right? And
Yeah.
so those people, when you're not paying them on their job, they doing the hustle. They out there selling tacos or weed or whatever it is, babysitting, braiding hair, whatever it is they have to do, because they have to make it. And there's a level of shame in Houston if you can't keep up.
The other thing that I'll add to, just on this topic, when it comes to like this image, the other thing that people are now keeping up with is social media, right? Like, it's at our fingertips these days now, so you can portray whatever life you want. And comparison is the thief of joy, right? And I think it's so easy to get caught up in whatever, depending on the algorithm, whatever it want to show you, to enact those emotions. Like, I think I was watching, it's called like Facebook documentary or something about like how Facebook and Instagram was created with Mark Zuckerberg. Him. And there are literally people behind these screens that will put something in front of you to enact an emotion, right? It's like, oh, I know this is her ex. I'm gonna put this there, and she gonna see this. And I was like, that's crazy. Like, just
it's
thinking
real
about that. So that's the next level of fighting, of like what perception of wealth and what it looks like, because people want to show the big houses, the big cars, whatever. You decide on what wealthy looks like for you and your family, and what that standard is, because don't let society decide it, because it's too much at this point.
Well, and it's a false sense of reality.
It is very
right, and it's just like what Chris was saying earlier. This person can die and they're $1 million worth of debt, but they were living life high on the hog, as they would say. It's all about the perception, and your perception is your reality. But you have to make sure you're living in your reality, and social media is known to take people
very much. And there's been this huge thing that I've noticed, and I'm not even going to just say like the Black community, because I've seen it done in the other communities too, but the GoFundMe's, right? So once somebody passed away, there was no life insurance, there was no nothing, so they're not ready. So then it's like, oh, let me go raise a GoFundMe. Let's not be the GoFundMe culture.
No.
Like
Let's get some life insurance.
Get some life insurance in
life
place. Make sure that
insurance.
things are in place that if you were to die today or tomorrow, your loved ones can bury you without having to think about the financial impact, because there's already the emotional side, right? Like, I don't want to have to think about where I'm gonna get this money from. It's expensive to bury someone. I know it's an uncomfortable conversation to have, but we're all gonna die someday.
Yeah.
And that's a part of responsibility.
It is. But there has been just a huge uptick on the throw a GoFundMe up there. And I had a family member that passed away. A family member that passed away unexpectedly, you know, and the GoFundMe went up because there was nothing in place to cover that expense. Sad to see, but now on top of dealing with the emotional grievance of things, there was that financial thing.
That fear.
Over their head. Yeah.
Are we going to have enough to put them away?
And then deal with everything else that's to come.
I have a question with that because I hear a lot of back and forth about, you know, just African Americans and how we show up when it comes to the lack of the knowledge, the lack of the financial literacy. Do you think it's because it's not accessible to us, or do you think it's because our conditioning from back at home, we don't seek the actual knowledge anymore? We're just complacent now.
Is that a question to Shelby, or is that general?
Or
Yeah.
to Shawnee? To me?
Well, either or, both of you. No, because again, like, you know, not coming from like a family who's like talked about the money and stuff like that. That's nothing I didn't think about it. You know, I had two parents. My dad worked, picked up the socks, worked for 12 hours. I'm the youngest. I have 5 other siblings. So I kind of sort of did not worry about too much until they said, all right, you're an adult now.
I don't think
Figure
you
it
should
out.
have to worry. You're a kid. Like, I don't expect Athena to worry about those things, right? Like, it's setting that foundation up for her, but also like making sure that she gets ready for the world,
Right.
right? Like, so it's teaching her about like the importance of paying a bill on time, the importance
The
of
value
like
of a
investing,
dollar.
like little small things. But is it a child's responsibility to think about like, oh, if my parents pass away? It's
Not
like,
at all.
no, not at all.
Not
I
at
don't think you have to go to that level of foundation. I don't think it has to be an expectation. I think it's on the adult, the parent, at this age, at this time that we have access to everything, to seek the knowledge.
I think. Well,
yeah.
so I think it's kind of twofold. So I'm going to piggyback off your point, Shani. So, but I think it's twofold, right? Because it is the parents' responsibility to educate them and make them understand the value of a dollar, right? If you don't pay this bill on time, then this is what's going to happen. There's repercussion and consequences to the actions that you make.
You'll be in the dark.
Yeah, you will be in the dark, right? I think the other piece to it too is you have to, and here again, I'm trying to get out of the stereotype, but we have to get to a point to where we're putting away our dollars, right? So it was I don't know this lady's, and she has passed away, but she lived this life on social media to where she had all these bags, she was dressed down to the T, she looked good, right? But yet, kind of to Shani's point, you had all these things, had a white boyfriend.
Oh, I've seen that. Okay.
Oh, the one that went on the trip.
So the
Yeah.
one, her husband, her boyfriend just proposed to her. She was in Zanzibar.
Yeah.
So she went to the motherland. She had a white boyfriend. He proposed to her there. They worked with the Lions. A couple days later, she's dead.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
I thought the Lions ate her ass.
Yeah.
That's-
And then things.
But who the hell want to? Okay, I'm sorry.
Nah.
But who the hell want to walk with a damn lion? I know I don't.
I don't want to be.
That's
close.
good.
I do.
That-
I'm gonna go to.
Ride
I'm
I
going
really
to
do.
Zanzibar.
Listen,
Going
I want
by
my African
yourself.
safari.
I am not
want
messing
to
with
see
them
all
lions.
I've
that.
seen so
Scary.
many walks behind the
It's
lions.
scary.
They be walking with the stick and they
What
walking
the hell
behind.
that stick gonna do to you?
Do
That
AI,
stick ain't
do
gonna
AI.
give you
Do
shit.
the AI
Do the AI version. That's safer.
version.
That's much safer.
But yeah, I've seen that. And then when you go to her page again, a very luxury lifestyle. Like,
Yeah.
But the thing
all
of it is,
it's perception.
yes, and at the end of the day, you can have all these luxuries around you. You can have luxury at your fingertips, but are you happy? Are you wholesome? Do you feel content with who you are and who life is? If all that gets stripped away tomorrow,
Yeah.
For me, what's important is the legacy that I live, so the impact, right? Because at the end of the day, the bags, all of those things aren't going with you,
You
in
can't
the
take
ground.
them with you.
Yeah, like you go and just, you know, we come in, same way we go out. So all of those things that you have means, for me, nothing. It's the impact that I leave. What's that legacy that I'm leaving behind? Because those are the things that's going to remain once I'm going. Like the bag's going, it's going to go to whoever. And
And
they
they
gonna
get
probably
old.
sell it. Yeah, well, who knows?
I
You know,
remember
whatever.
back in the day when Dooney and Burke would come out, I would want to get the first one, and Coach first kind of hit the scene, and my husband used to buy me all these nice bags, and yes, I felt validated and happy, but I look back and I'm like, I don't have any of that stuff anymore, right? It gets old, it gets outdated, something new's gonna, you know, hit the scene, something more, you know,
Money you just flush
innovative.
down the toilet. Money you done
Right.
flush, and that's the point that I'm making, right? With this lady, right? Don't mean to cut you off, but that's the point that I'm making, right? Did her parents, and here again, I'm not trying to shame the dead or any of that, right? And I'm not blaming our parents at all. I'm just making a point, right? Did her parents do a good enough job of instilling the value of a dollar, saving up for a rainy day? Because the only thing you see on the social media page is just, you know, her living in the lap of luxury. And from what I understand, you know, with her dating this white guy, I guess maybe she felt validated in terms of tearing down the black male. So I don't know how true that is, but I've heard that too, right? So there again, boundaries, right? So you feel empowered that you're with this, and here again, this is all speculative. I don't know for sure. This is just what I have.
This is a conversation.
Yeah,
Right. It's our thoughts.
yeah. But these are the things that I'm hearing. So, you know, did you really feel empowered to just, I don't say go to the dark side or go to the light side, but did you really feel empowered that now that you have this white man that you should pull down your own culture, and more specifically the black male, right? So like I said, I didn't go into a lot of detail with that, but that's just what I'm hearing. That's kind of what I'm seeing in terms of general of
What she was doing.
Yeah. And then I'll also add to the other part is, I guess our parents were setting her up for success, like when it comes to defining the importance, the value of the dollar. Because I also saw online that a GoFundMe was started by her
For
parents.
her.
Yeah, for her. Now, again, speculation, don't know if
know
it
that.
necessarily directly came from the parents. You know, people these days, they
We'll make
throw a
one
GoFundMe anyway. They're like, well, let me take advantage of this moment. So, but just seeing that allegedly her parents set up a GoFundMe, and you just seeing people like, she was doing all this stuff, and y'all ain't, what you mean, fund this?
And
Go
it
sell
goes back
those
to
bags.
priorities.
Back to priorities and stuff like
Exactly.
that. And also, I mean, just to play devil's advocate, since she's not here, and where her mental probably was that she did that, what exactly was at home? What toxic, you know, language was she hearing? Because, I mean, I don't know about everybody else, but as a black woman, we're told find somehow, some way, get stable. Get stable. And her, especially if her family had to throw up a GoFundMe, likely, honestly, what was the likelihood that there was that, you know, hey, you're going to be okay over here, or hey, you need to go and try and, you need to get
Figure
one
it
of
out.
those, you need to go and get set up, at least this kind of person over here, you're going to be over there with them. Because black people, we do it too. We do
Yeah.
a lot, a lot. So what if, you know, maybe this happened and it's really unfortunate, but what if maybe it was a whole entire training, like, hey, if somebody over here gets to the level of, hey, she won, then okay, this might trickle down. But of course, when you go to that side, like you said, she went to condemning, not, okay, how can I kind of make this work for my people, but still keep my people? You know what I mean?
Do you think this also could go back to just like the whole slavery mentality, right? So in order to survive or to basically be able to live a better life,
Do
sometimes
something
too,
strange for a
you
piece of
marry
change.
into
Affluent family.
like that was the
That's
thing
just
for
what
women
you
to
do.
get into it. It was,
And even still
you
now, I
marry
feel like they
directly
do
into
it
this.
that way. It's
Especially,
so-
we see
has
that with
that
the
con-
athletes.
has that
and-
continued to impact and shape the way that women
do this with men.
yes
'Cause that's
and
you know,
decide and choose their man based on those factors, right? Like when you look at it, because then Yeah, it's a whole nother concept.
Right.
I'm gonna stop
We're
there.
going back.
I don't know a whole lot
Listen,
about
it's
her,
the corn
her
wine making
story.
this
Yeah.
go and talk.
So to kind of answer your question about the parents, I mean, we could ponder about that all day and all night, because you can instill certain things in children and they can grow up and then go a totally different way, right? In this day and age, I do firmly believe that children are also shaped by what they see on social media and what they hear at school and how they're treated in school. And so I don't know her experiences. I don't know what she went through. God bless her soul. But I definitely wouldn't agree if her preference was to be with a Caucasian man. That's her preference. She has every right. But I still don't agree that, you put down any race, for that matter, any race, regardless of who they are. And I hope that wasn't the case for her. I hope but they'll do anything for social media, right? For
social
likes
media
and
is a
hearts
very
and-
powerful tool, and as I am raising my daughter in this generation of, they prey on women to where as though like we see beauty a certain way, right? Like some females not even comfortable with posting a picture without a filter, and that's crazy.
Yes.
That you gotta go and edit so much on a photo to not authentically feel beautiful. I don't ever want my daughter to feel like that.
Yeah.
So it is extremely important for me to be mindful of those things, because again, technology and just what we have access to is different now, and I can just imagine what that was going to be like when she older, and I probably don't even really know.
Like
too
she
much
said,
about her.
that body dysmorphia, that's a real thing.
Yeah,
and how they post wearing certain things, and if they get all these likes, and that's what
and then
validates.
If you don't
looking
get a certain
in the
amount of
mirror
likes.
and you cannot see it at all, but everybody, like you said, if you would not have said, "Hey, look, listen, my kids is grown," would anybody want to say, "Oh yeah, she probably"?
No, and I see every wrinkle.
There has been studies, and they show that, which is why like Instagram included hiding likes, right? So like they're still trying to be compliant with certain things and all that, but there is a lot of just like mental impacts, like the effect from social media, and it's from so many different things, right? So we're talking about the impact on females when it comes to like the beauty side of things. We're talking about the overall like American dream or the lifestyle that people will portray, that you feel like that you should achieve, versus it being like from an individual standpoint, marriage standpoint, whatever, like corporate America standpoint, whatever standpoint that you want to think about. I'm pretty sure you can find it on social media. So just being mindful of those things, because again, like it's okay to take a step back and I like to call it like a social media break. Like sometimes like I'll take a break. I know when social media actually starts to, for me, I am deeply an empath and I feel my emotions. And I know when social media start to like feel my eyes, I'm like, hold on, this algorithm just changed.
Take a break.
And I will hardly take a break. I will take a break so fast, and I'm like, you're too much into, I don't know if it picked up maybe on a conversation I had or whatever the case may be, but it shifted. So I'll back off from social media for me and take a break and reset personally and then get back on.
And have you noticed that sometimes, like if you take a break, I know it's happened to me before, if I take a break from social media and certain people will say, "Are you okay? What's going on with you? I haven't seen you online."
Your page.
And I'm like, that's not where I live my real life. If you want to, be a part of my real life, come be a part of my real life.
Right.
The door is open. But a lot of people, they view you and they recognize who you are based off of who you post, which of course we post what we choose to post.
Exactly. That's not our 24/7. Mine's is a little bit of the opposite, and I know. That's why I'm not a huge fan of posting for me, because I feel like people think that they know what's going on in your life. So actually when I post, I actually get, "Oh, that's where you been. How you been?" Or, "I was thinking about you." Like my number never changed. Like, you got my number.
Right.
Like I get all of these random little things because I don't post, and that's exactly why I kind of like don't really like to, because people think they know your life. And this is like I'm not going to say a personal circle, as maybe personal circle and plus other friends or extended people or whatever the case may be, and they just flood into the gates from a post. It's like, you wasn't thinking about me. You wasn't worried. I just so happened to appear, and now you're like, hey.
Their interest is piqued.
I don't like that about social media. Like, I actually can't stand it at all. Because I'm a very genuine person, and for me,
Absolutely.
my genuine circle, I'm like,
Yeah, well, I completely understand. Well, we've had some great conversation on this evening, but we must bid you adieu. so, so Shelby, tell the folks where can we find you?
You can find me at 281-858-3710 or Peace, Harmony, and Hope. Actually, I have it's a very long website, so I can have them drop it.
Yeah, we'll drop it right there.
Comments.
So, matter of fact, Mr. Keegan, drop that for us right now. Right now.
You
There
gotta
you go.
meet this Keegan guy. He does
Oh,
such
Keegan
great
is
job.
awesome.
We love
Keegan is
Keegan.
awesome. We love Keegan. We really love
check
Keegan.
out the last episode too.
Yes.
For a shout out for
Yes.
Keegan.
Keegan is awesome.
That's our guy.
Yes.
He is our guy. So I do want to leave y'all with this. So I'm trying to get into the point where I'm leaving y'all with something, right?
Nuggets.
The
There's
words
some
of
nuggets,
wisdom.
the words of wisdom.
From the
Yeah.
CEO, Mr. CEO.
The words of wisdom. So I think I found this quote, and it's very in tune to what we talked about today, right? And making sure that we establish our boundaries, we keep our boundaries, right? And we adapt where need be, but we just don't completely go boundaryless. Yes, boundaryless. It just sounds weird saying that.
Right?
Yeah,
It doesn't sound like a real word. But this is the quote that I got. It says, "My life got better when ... I realized I don't have to be nice. Nice got me ran over, stressed out, and disrespected. I'm not nice, but I'm a good person." I like the way that came together,
I like
right?
I like that.
Clock that T, as they say. I like that.
So I can dissect that, but I ain't gonna do that because we keep on. We gonna go over
We're
here.
all night.
Yeah. We're gonna go into
But the
overtime.
last
Ready
thing
to
that I want
say.
to piggyback off of your quote that you just read too, and I think like the finishing touches on that would be like at the end of the day too, that Jan is actually the author, and his plan is better than any other plan that we can have for ourselves.
Yes.
So that includes like all of the relationships, whatever, like honestly anything, right? Whatever he has planned and stored for us is better than anything that we can come up with in our minds. Whatever we think that we may want to happen, his plan is better for us. And as long as we are following his plan and in alignment with that,
Can't go wrong.
chef kiss.
Okay. So all right. So very very last point. So yes, true, 100%. But I think what we have to do is ask Yah to two things. One, ask him for the plan. And two, open our spiritual eyes so that we can see what the plan is.
Yes.
And we, in general, not black people, we in general, we think that we have the plan. And I hate this, so you're trying to trigger me. But we'll sit there and say, well, God led me to do this and God led me to do that. I'm sitting there, I'm like, really?
He gave you free will.
Yeah, he gave me free will, but
Yes.
did he really tell you to do that? Did you ask him? So this is where, just be mindful. So yes, everything you said is true, but just be sure to ask God or ask Yah, what is his plan for you? And just keep in mind, he's not going to remove every obstacle. Don't look at God or don't look at Yah as a ATM. Right, and we end up more often than not going to Yah when we need something.
Yeah.
And I won't really end it on this, but when we do that, are we being toxic to Yah?
Yes. And ourselves.
And ourselves. Mic drop.
Topic for a
Mic
whole
drop.
nother night.
No, that's a whole nother day. So
Yes.
Until next time.
until next time. So I'm Chris Rose, founder and CEO of Water Wine Kenya. Hope to see y'all again in another week or so. So we out. Bye.